I'm not below compliments. That's what my mom always says. She's like, wants me to compliment her, and she's like, I'm not below compliments. I'm like, it's clear that you're not. She's always soliciting.
She's an eternal optimist, and she's always leaving me messages, hooping and hollering and saying, life's just a bowl of cherries.
The judge got really angry when he found out that Blake's mom, Elaine Lively, was the one causing all the trouble behind the scenes.
But my mom, I think, is a very confident person. And so, for me, yeah, I just struggled with that because I sometimes judged her for being so confident.
She did everything from sending fake emails pretending to be other people to threatening crew members. She was the one making all the sneaking moves against Justin Baldoni.
It's not for us to have shame. It's for them.
Now her name is connected to fake evidence, lying witnesses, and a courtroom mess that's bigger than anyone thought possible. Blake Lively apparently freaked out in the courtroom when papers came out that showed the one person she never thought would get in trouble, her own mom. Judge Lemon, who has been watching this whole celebrity drama, looked really upset. And you know it takes a lot to shock a judge who has seen everything. But when he saw the paperwork that connected Elaine Lively, Blake's mom, who always looks sweet in magazines, to all the sneaky stuff happening behind the scenes, his mouth dropped open in surprise.
Which I think is not fair, right? Yeah, you're such a bad job. You're terrible at her.
Blake Lively actually stood on the Time 100 party stage wearing expensive designer clothes, pretending to be someone who fights for women's rights. Meanwhile, her mother, the same woman who was supposedly blackmailing assistants and messing with PR campaigns, sat right there enjoying all the clapping. Give me a break.
She's an eternal optimist.
According to Blake, her mom is this person who always sees the good in everything, leaves happy voicemails, and survived the worst thing that can happen to a woman.
She wanted me to share with you that she is a survivor of the worst crime someone can commit against a woman.
And while nobody is saying that didn't happen to her, here's where it gets weird. Blake is using that terrible experience to get people to clap for her, while at the same time her mom is being caught in court as the person who supposedly planned a whole scheme to ruin someone's reputation.
I've watched her conceal her raw and undeserved shame my entire life. My mom never got justice from her work acquaintance who attempted to take her life when she was the mother of 3 young kids years before I was born. She has always credited her beating heart today with a story she heard from another woman in a similar circumstance.
She wants to talk about how we should use our power to help others, while her own mother is being accused of pretending to be a lawyer, making up fake evidence, and even threatening the people who work on movie sets. I mean, imagine having the nerve to praise your mom for saving your life, and then bringing her straight into a courtroom scandal where she's supposedly messing with witnesses and planting fake stories in gossip blogs. This isn't helping women, it's using emotions to trick people while wearing a fancy dress. People inside the courtroom are now saying that Elaine Lively wasn't just there to give her daughter emotional support. She was actively helping Blake Lively figure out how to make Justin Baldoni look bad. Pretending to be a media expert, Eleanor supposedly used a fake PR company email like this was some secret spy mission, not a real court case that could ruin people's jobs and reputations. Things got even crazier when lawyer Brian Friedman stood up and said that if Blake wanted to be the person who tells the truth, she should give her testimony live at Madison Square Garden, on stage, under bright lights, in front of a big audience, with all the money going to help women who survived domestic violence. The moment he said that, Blake, a woman who built her public image around helping women, seemed to run away from being held responsible as fast as she could. This reminds me of when Blake recently went on Seth Meyers' TV show, where she acted like she was giving a big important speech about trauma and surviving bad things. People got so mad about it that Seth's team had to turn off the comments section completely. Even People magazine, which usually writes nice things about Blake, had to go back and change their story. When the media people who usually help you start removing your name, you know you've really messed up your public image. And yet, it gets even worse. Elaine Lively, it turns out, might have been the person who planned the whole campaign. She supposedly created something called Operation Redemption. Not a Netflix show, but a sneaky media plan where emotional speeches were leaked to feminist blogs right before court hearings, seemingly to change what the public thought and distract people from the real case. Her computer skills didn't stop there. Eleanor supposedly hired a tech expert to change the information in practice videos to make it look like Baldoni was doing inappropriate things when he wasn't. And according to people on the inside, when a production assistant refused to lie in court, Eleanor tried to blackmail him by threatening to expose unrelated immigration problems if he didn't go along with her plan. She even supposedly pretended to be a lawyer to contact Taylor Swift's team to try to get public support for Blake, thinking that Taylor's support might make the whole controversy go away. Except she supposedly went even further, threatening to release 10 years' worth of Taylor's private text messages unless she publicly supported Blake. According to Puck News and court papers, the source of that information was Taylor's own father, Scott Swift, who supposedly gave Brian Friedman the full timeline and proof. While Blake was supposedly trying to trick Taylor into helping her, Scott stepped in and basically said, "Not happening." Since then, Taylor and her close friends, including Gigi Hadid, Cara Delevingne, and Sophie Turner, have all supposedly stopped being friends with Blake. No dramatic social media posts, no press statements, just quiet, professional ignoring, which is like being removed from the guest list and group chat in celebrity world. Blake's business empire hasn't escaped the mess either. Her beauty brand, once worth $100 million, is now expected to drop below $15 million in 2025. According to Puck, sales fell between 56% and 78%, mostly because of the supposed blackmail of Taylor Swift. Stores have pulled out. Target insiders call her product line a non-conversation. Even her canned cocktail brand, Betty Booze, supposedly didn't sell well on cruise ships, a place where passengers are basically stuck with few other choices. Over 40 stores have supposedly cut ties just in the first 3 months of 2025, not just because of weak sales, but because they're worried about their reputation being hurt by Blake's legal mess. In a last desperate attempt, Blake's team supposedly tried to protect Ryan Reynolds, who was named in Baldoni's counter-lawsuit for ruining his reputation, by asking for witness immunity. But Brian Friedman wasn't going to allow it. He accused Ryan of using Disney's resources to create a villain character based on Baldoni in a 2022 Disney Plus movie. That character, Nice Pool, was described as a soft-spoken, manipulative bad guy, and even though Ryan had no official involvement in Blake's It Ends With Us movie, his face was all over the promotional materials, used, apparently, to give the project credibility it didn't deserve. Even Taylor Swift was supposedly involved in early script rewrites, which could make her someone who has to testify. Judge Lemon supposedly criticized Blake's legal team for dropping celebrity names to make themselves look better, and then acting like those same people didn't matter when the legal spotlight turned on them. The two-faced behavior was obvious. What started as a campaign to make Blake look like a victim of unfairness has fallen apart into a textbook example of celebrity manipulation. Her entire empowerment story has collapsed, bringing down her mother, her marriage, and her businesses with it. Despite promises of a parade of witnesses against Baldoni, none have come forward. The only evidence offered amounts to rumors and vague emotional claims, most of which court footage and set security cameras seem to prove wrong. One example often mentioned by Blake's team was the so-called cow comment, presented as a cruel insult from Baldoni. It turns out the line wasn't even his. It was a trainer's safety remark during a stunt practice, completely misrepresented in the court filing. Legal critics have called her entire case Hollywood lawsuit theater, and that's being nice about it. Meanwhile, her PR agents, Stephanie Jones and Leslie Sloan, are being accused of planting anonymous stories and then threatening journalists with lawsuits if they refuse to publish them. One YouTuber, Katie, was supposedly hit with a cease and desist letter based on misunderstood legal examples. The courtroom has become a stage, the filings a script, and the motions, over a dozen of them still unresolved, paint a picture of chaos more than justice. And as we look at Eleanor once again, sources now claim she's directly connected to messing with evidence, creating fake media stories, and manipulating witnesses. Brian Friedman supposedly has a digital collection of proof, emails, security footage, and computer data that tie Eleanor and Blake together in what's being called a coordinated effort to ruin someone's reputation. Stores have distanced themselves. Former friends have disappeared, and now rumors suggest Blake's marriage to Ryan Reynolds is also in trouble, with divorce lawyers supposedly already involved. This isn't just a fall from being popular, it's a self-caused destruction. According to one courtroom source, this isn't Blake's downfall, it's a controlled demolition by her own family. That's not just a quote, it's like writing on a tombstone. What we're watching isn't someone being unfairly targeted, it's someone falling apart, bringing down her legacy, relationships, and public image in the process, all while her own mother lights the match. At this point, the only real question left is not whether Blake Lively will lose this case, that seems certain, but whether Eleanor Lively will be charged with crimes. Because if pretending to be a lawyer, blackmailing assistants, and making fake evidence doesn't count as conspiracy and obstruction of justice, what does? So here we are. Blake Lively, once America's sweetheart, now a one-woman scandal dragging everyone around her into the fire, all in the name of control, ego, and the illusion of untouchable celebrity status. And with each passing day, that illusion continues to crumble.